Hey guys, Andrew here at Prehired. So we've got another story to tell you guys, and I've got Tanner with me today. He just actually moved up to Raleigh from the Charlotte area where he's working at his new company. So welcome, Tanner. Just take a minute to tell everyone that's listening, just tell us about yourself, about your background.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Andrew. So my background wasn't software sales. I started in recruiting and staffing in a financial services industry, working in Charlotte, North Carolina. Started out as a recruiter and did well and moved into more of a sales oriented role as I developed in my first year there. And then obviously with a high interest in sales and a high interest in specifically technology, I wanted to move towards that and went into IT sales, so more on the vendor side for IT. Really gained an understanding of kind of that type of audience and developed more sales skills as I grew there. And then came across pre-hired and worked with you guys a good bit. And now I've moved into a new role here in software sales, which was my goal from the start. So really happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, so you obviously had like a little bit of the IT background within the recruiting. What made you so interested in software sales? Why did you want to move from the recruiting side into a true sales role?
Yeah, so there's a couple things actually. So one thing, technology in general has always interested me. I've just always been somebody that wants to know how something can be improved and what's the newest technology, whether it's anything in my life. So that's just something I've gravitated towards. But also kind of building off that a little bit, I wanted to go from being in a vendor space of like selling services and something that's always changing because it's working with people. Um, Going to a product side where you can really become like a subject matter expert of something and really grow and start to establish that expertise and craft that you can gain in IT software sales.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So obviously, you came across pre-hired. Well, first off, why are you interested in doing it through pre-hired? I remember when we spoke, you obviously had a good amount of knowledge. I already felt like you're a pretty smart guy. Why were you looking to do it through something like us?
Yeah, so like most things that I've kind of seen in my career, a lot you generate through what networks and referrals and things like that. And actually, somebody that worked on in Aerotech, which was my first job as a recruiter, um, he also just through looking through LinkedIn and things like that, I saw that I had a shared connection at Aerotech that is in software sales. So I just kind of proactively reached out to him and tried building a network. Turned out to be a good friend of Josh's, who's running the program at Pre-Hired, and just heard a lot of good things about it. Looked into it myself, and then based off our conversations and conversations with you, it seems like a no-brainer at that point.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was a guy named John who worked with us at our other company, Four Letter, and then helped us a little bit with pre-hired. So, okay, so John told you about us, about what we're doing a little bit, and we spoke. But I guess when you first heard about us, I mean, be honest with me. What were your thoughts? I mean, what were you thinking? What were you feeling?
Yeah, I'll be honest. At first, when I was doing research on my own, I didn't know if it was all true. I thought maybe possible scam, things like that. That's so huge this day and
Yeah.
age. But um, like I said, I did my own research. I did more conversations with John, and you really start to, if you dig into it and see kind of the results and see like the actual content and material and compare it to programs across the world, a lot of great stuff in there for a really great price.
So obviously you decide, hey, these guys seem legit enough. They seem like they know what they're doing. After starting to go through the program, and what'd you think about that? What was it like going through the program?
The program was really cool for me. I liked it for a couple different reasons, and I think I've shared a couple of these with you guys in the past. But some of the biggest ones were I noticed after going through some interviews on my own um, that not so much a gap in my ability to interview or my sales skills, but there's a gap in knowledge within the industry, and I especially know that now being in it. Even knowing a strong sales cycle within IT, recruiting, sales, and things like that, it's completely different when it comes to the verbiage, language, how it's going to go through different channels or direct, things like that. I just simply didn't know.
Yeah.
And kind of filling those gaps and learning the verbiage and learning the language just made me kind of bridge that gap to get into software sales a lot faster.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that from a lot of people, especially on the admission side of, they just think they just need to get an interview and they can nail that interview. But it's, oh, I'm a great interviewer. It's okay. Maybe you're a great interviewer, but like you said, it's really the knowledge. You can be amazing at interviewing, but if you don't have the knowledge that these companies are looking for, you're not going to get the job. Or even if you do get the job, it's going to be really tough because, and you're coming from a somewhat similar industry, I would say, with IT recruiting, but people that come in from real estate or insurance, some of that skill set relates, but there is a massive knowledge gap and it needs to be learned. So, it's not just getting your foot in the door. It's a whole lot
Yeah.
more than that. So obviously went through the program and you were a little different. You kind of, I don't want to say did things on your own, but you really took the bull by the horn, or the horn, whatever that saying is. Went right through and obviously you got some pretty good results. So what was it actually like for you to starting the interviewing process, applying for jobs? Just share a little more about that side.
Yeah, and I definitely looked at, I think, the program a little different. Um, Coming from like an athletic background in college and then, graduating and getting into a job, I saw it as a great opportunity to kind of master my craft. Whether I knew some stuff or didn't know some other things, I knew it would be a way to kind of elevate that sales game or that sales skill set that I had. So I really used that and attack weaknesses that I had. Like I said, those gaps in understanding. Um, but my huge goal was that, since I'm going through a program like this, I know it has to be a little bit of self-discipline, even though it's laid out so well down the border, like what you should accomplish, how far you are. Just really kind of having that discipline to put a couple hours a day when I got home, and go through it and then really take something away. Don't just like go through the steps so that you hit 100%,
Yep.
but like looking at something. And I remember I would spend maybe, an hour on one thing and then, 15 minutes on another, just because I would get so much from that one subject.
Yeah.
I think a great example was like I was learning about the topic of clarity throughout the program. And that was something I think, as a sales individual, but something that just like went off in my head to just ask those extra questions. How much defining like little things and gaining clarity on questions and products and different projects just builds your kind of expertise and your understanding with the client. The client, I think, respects that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, bring up that point of clarity, that's, we don't want our members just to like go through the motions and like you're saying, watch the videos just to get to 100%. It's clarity. It's understanding the why. It's okay for this subject or for that subject or whatever it may be. Why are we doing this? Why that? And, then that relates to the actual sales being, well, why are you guys having these problems? Well, why do you want this? Why that? Why? It's that clarity. And if you can get clarity and if you can understand the why, you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be really successful in sales. So that's a really good point. So, well, so obviously you did that. You spent a lot of time each day. You knew you had to do it. Tell us what we were talking obviously a little before this. You didn't really have to apply to a lot of jobs, and you got some pretty good results. So tell us a little more about that.
Yeah. So when I was going through the process, I waited till I was through the program a good bit, almost completed fully, because that's where I kind of felt confident that those gaps I was talking about were starting to bridge. Lights were starting to go off, and then just doing my own networking within kind of the industry at different companies and having friends that have been in it. I know they were starting to put feelers out for me because I was letting them know proactively I'm getting to kind of this stage. And so I actually ended up interviewing with 5 different companies, and I only applied to 5. Um, 3 of them were SDR, BDR roles, and 2 of them were more of the next level in the industry, which would be more enterprise sales. Um, and it came down to interviewing with all of them. After I interviewed, I got an offer with 3 of them. Um, and then 2, we're moving to next steps, but um, just kind of the opportunity that I had right now that I'm in was the one that just clicked throughout the whole interview process with the people, the ideology behind the company, and just really what they're doing in their mission. So it seemed like a no-brainer at that point for me.
So I want to take a step back for a second because you said you applied to 5 and you interviewed with 5 and you got 3 offers and the other 2 were moving forward. That's that's not normal at all. If people are listening, that's don't expect that to happen. Tanner, he's definitely an A plus player. He followed the program to a T and then some, and that's why he got those results. Don't expect to apply to every company and get an offer from every single one, or even interview with every single one. That's amazing. That's really cool to hear. But basically, you got to pick what company you wanted to work at. Most people they hope they get a job, at least one offer. You got to, I want to work at this company. This is the best one. This fits me. I want to work there, which is
Mhm.
really, really cool to see. So where are you at now? I know obviously you just moved up to Raleigh. Tell us a little more about what's, your company, what you guys do, and what your role is going to be, or is, I should
Yeah.
say.
So I work with Red Hat in Raleigh. We specialize in open source software, meaning that it's software that everyone can kind of collaborate, study, and improve. So it's not proprietary like a lot of software companies. So what we do really well is working with subscriptions and services for the software. With it being such a complex software, a lot of companies can get it, but they don't really know how to operate within it. And that's where we come in and help bridge that gap. I work specifically in enterprise software sales. So that means that I work on any accounts that are over 500,000, and that being anything within commercial, meaning an industry. So healthcare, financial services, companies like that. And my main goal is to help close new and renewal business with an outside account rep.
Got it.
Um, so that's kind of the hierarchy of Red Hat. But like I said, the big thing with them was just kind of being an open source company. A lot of excitement in that as everything's moving to a lot more flexible model. Um, but cool news actually just became part of IBM. An acquisition landed yesterday, and the deal closed for $34 billion. They bought out Red
Jeez.
Hat. So really exciting time to be here.
Yeah,
A
that's
lot of
cool.
cool chaos going outside, but it's a cool time.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear that. I didn't even know that. And you were telling me again before that, you kind of skipped a couple steps, right? You're in the enterprise role. You should have actually started somewhere else, right?
Yeah, normally what you'll see is you'll be in an MDR, SDR, BDR role here. If you do well there, you'll move into mid market, which is deals under that mark that I was talking about.
Okay.
And then from there, you can move into enterprise accounts, which is anything over 500,000. So skip 2 steps,
Nice.
move into a new industry. Like I
That's
said,
awesome.
kind of hit the lottery.
Yeah, well, hey, maybe it's a little luck, but it's a lot more. You put in the effort, you put in the work to get there. I definitely don't think it's really that much luck. Well, that's awesome. Well, last question I got for you, Tanner, is obviously there's a lot of people probably watching these, and some people haven't talked to us yet. Some people are a little bit on the fence. They're not sure. I mean, what at the end of the day, what if you had to sum it up, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is I know when I was on the fence is, talk to people that are connected, or reach out to people, like me that you're watching in the videos, and go ahead and ask them questions, because everyone at Pre-Hired is very open. They're open to talk to you about it. Any questions that you might have, I'm sure they can answer. But I would say the biggest thing for me is that you'll get exactly what you want out of this program that you want to put into it. If you want to, have something that will definitely increase your sales abilities, and then also build a huge network of people, connections, and also ways to reach out to new networks and new connections. It's definitely something that's going to supply that. And that's what I really used it for, is a great network to stay balanced. I know Josh and Andrew still help me to today, even in my role, apply different things. And I look forward to kind of that partnership going forward. And I think I would recommend it for everybody.
Awesome, man. Well, glad everything worked out. Excited to hear how you do in the future, and we'll definitely catch up later, Tanner.
Have a good one, Andrew.